Genesis has pulled the G70 from the European and UK market altogether. Just saying something right there. Is the Genesis G70 being discontinued, and is it a bad move on behalf of Genesis to remove their most affordable entry-level car into their lineup? That's what I'm here to discuss in this video. And spoiler alert, the short and simple answer is no. As of making this video, there is no official word from Genesis that the G70 is being discontinued. That is only rumors currently. So do I think the G70 is on its way out and Genesis will discontinue it? I think there is a strong chance for that possibility. So join me in this video in some speculation as we discuss the future of the G70. So if we look at the sales numbers for the G70 compared to every other car in the Genesis lineup, it's not very high up there. And if you also take into consideration that Genesis has pulled the G70 from the European and UK market altogether, just saying something right there. And if you also take into consideration the fact that aside from the facelift in 2022, the G70 has had no other major changes or updates. The interior is still like 80% the same as it was when the car first came out 6 years ago. And I think that's just a pretty strong indication that Genesis is pushing this car into the curb and kind of prepping it for its way out. You know, while all the other cars in the Genesis lineup are undergoing massive changes year after year after year, the G70's kind of just been kicked to the curb, thrown some scraps here and there, basically just to keep it alive, and it's not really receiving much attention, at least not as much attention as the rest of the cars in the Genesis lineup are. The G70, it's been around for 6 years, almost 7 years now, and it's only had one single exterior redesign, and that's pretty much it. Sure, they updated the climate controls for the interior, they put in a larger touchscreen, added some little tiny pieces here and there, but they haven't done a full redesign on the interior of the car since it first went into production in 2019. And that is a seriously long time for, in terms of car industry standards, for a car to go without having any sort of major, redesign or rehash of the interior. When the 2026 year models come out for the G70, it will be in its 8th model year. And that's without any major change to the interior. Just let that sink in. 8 model years the car has been around, and it has not had one single major interior redesign, aside from, like I said, updating like the AC climate controls, a bigger touchscreen, and giving us the like half analog, half digital cluster. It's just kind of like some creature comforts. I would not consider those things to be a redesign or, major update, if you will. So, is Genesis going to discontinue the G70? I think it's a 50-50. If they don't do some sort of major interior rehaul for 2026 or some other big updates, I really think the car is done for. A lot of people think that the G70, especially the interior, is really outdated compared to its competitors. And if we're being honest, it kind of is for the money you're spending and what type of car you're getting into, a luxury sedan. If you look at all of its competitors, yeah, the interior of the G70, I mean, it's still pretty much the same as it was in 2019. If Genesis is going to get rid of the G70 altogether, I really think they should have another car that's similarly priced to replace it with. Getting rid of the G70, I think, is a bad move for the brand because you're cutting out what I would consider to be a larger consumer base wanting to get into a luxury car or luxury sports car, that otherwise wouldn't be interested in the brand. Me personally, if it weren't for the G70, I would have had zero interest in the Genesis brand. It was literally that one car that was allowed me to be able to afford to get into a luxury sports car and into the Genesis brand. So, if you get rid of the Genesis or the G70 from the segment, you lose out on potential customers like myself who are now huge fans of the brand and are now looking at purchasing a Genesis SUV, which I would have never even batted my eye at. Now that I own one, I'm loyal to the brand, I like their product, and I'm more willing to purchase more Genesis products and spend more money on them. So again, just going back to the whole thing, I think removing the G70 from the segment entirely will be potentially a bad move when it comes to the consumer. And now talking about consumers, that might be the exact direction Genesis is trying to go. They might be trying to appeal to a more higher, wealthier class of consumers. But, if you look at other luxury car brands, they still have cars that, a not so wealthier person could afford. If you look at other brands, Audi, Mercedes, BMW, they all have less expensive, but still nice luxury and sporty cars you can get into. And if you remove the G70 from the Genesis segment, the next least expensive car is the G80 sedan, if we're talking exclusively sedans. And that car, basically the base model, essentially is what the G70 costs fully maxed. So I'll put up a price on the screen of what the G80 is and what the G80 would cost if you were to option it the same as the G80. And that's not necessarily an entry-level affordable car, if you will. So like I said, there is no official word from Genesis as to if they're going to discontinue the G70. As I'm making this video and posting it, anything here about the car being discontinued, purely rumors and purely speculation. So again, let me know what you guys think about the G70 based off all the indicators, being pulled from the UK and European market, and kind of the G70 not getting as many updates as its other counterparts in the segment. Do you think it's on its way out? Do you think it'll be renewed? Most importantly, do you think it'll receive a Magma variant? I was really, disappointed is the right word, when Genesis released their Magma line of cars, their concepts, if you will. And if any car would make a good Magma variant, 100% would be the G70. And that kind of threw some red flags in my head. And I'm like, of all the cars to make a Magma variant for, why would you not do the G70? And it kind of makes me think, well, the car might not be sticking around long enough for when those Magma cars actually release. So like I said, again, all purely speculation on my part, just purely my opinion. But again, let me know what you think. That's all I've got for you in this video. Simply wanted to make an interesting little thing talking about is the G70 going to stick around? And also to extinguish the rumors of it being discontinued. Because like I said, there's nothing official. And let's keep on trucking on with our G70s and enjoying them. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye now.